You're 6 o'clock. Welcome to the vertical edge of Western civilization, Venice Beach, California. Today is Monday, March maybe 9th or so-ish. And what's the deal? What's going on here? Beautiful weather. It's great to be able to do a show today. I don't know why all the planets lined up to make the technical reality in such a harmonious way, but we're just going to take full advantage of that. What's going on? I wasn't really expecting this to work today, but it did. That's wonderful. Hey, look at this painting here. Isn't that special? Isn't that nifty? Yes, it is. I almost don't even want to move the computer, but oh yeah, it's daylight savings time. So I'm broadcasting this. It's like 5:17, and we have 62%. So it'll be a kind of a shorter show than usual, probably maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour or so. And okay. And what's going on? What's happening? The weather here has been really epic the past couple of days. I tried to do a show on Friday, and I got it going finally after about a good 20 minutes of working at it, and then I got a whole maybe 2 minutes of me moving very weirdly all over the place. At least that's what it looks like, because it would take a shot and then it would freeze, and then there'd be another shot and then it would freeze, and it's unintelligible basically. And then it went off after 2 minutes, and so the whole thing was it was really disappointing, because I really wanted to do a show, of course. But anyway, so this is show number 157B, and it seems like there are so many wonderful and tremendous things happening at the moment, not the least of which is this magnificent friggin' weather. And coming this way. Yep, there's going to be some yelling. This girl's yelling a lot. Yeah, Princess Branch, she had some kind of thing with the police over the weekend, so she goes. So I spent the weekend doing this piece. Let me see if I can. Here we go. I'm trying to see that. She had this too loud now. Thank you.
Of course, the animals will die too. For all you vegetarians out there, vegetarians.
Crazy. So anyway, this piece here is, I spent Saturday doing the top part, and Sunday doing the bottom part. This is, if you saw it before, if you see it on my Facebook page, see the progression. There were 180 radiants, and then over the weekend I filled them in so that there's actually 90 of these. This is the 90 harmonic. And I've been debating whether or not to put anything in the center. Because it feels like, I also have been debating about whether or not to extend this further out. That would be cool. That would be really cool. Oh, I like that. I like that idea a lot, actually.
But I don't give a shit. No, because I still able to be like that. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea. I like it. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, so story-wise, there's this thing called Gaiam TV, and I have a friend that owns that company, and he stopped in this weekend on Saturday night, and we met up at the internet cafe that I frequent. And it was, we had an incredible conversation. Like this. It's a good idea. This is going to be nifty.
I heard you guys had a nice day there today.
So yesterday I was listening to, as I was doing this, I was listening to the radio, and there's this really great radio show, and it, by coincidence, it's actually produced in my hometown, Woods Hole, Falmouth, the village of Woods Hole on Cape Cod, and it's called the Moth Radio Hour, and so it broadcasted here on the weekend on Sunday afternoons, and the story, one of the stories that they did, I think it was yesterday, was about this guy, you know, told by the person. You know, all these stories they're real, they're true stories, and they have to be told by the person who happened to. And let's do it this way. And this person tells this story about how he was on in his home, he's from Vermont, in his hometown, there was a ski mountain. He was a real, you know, just to ski. It was a real passion. As he put it, I think, you know, powder was like church, you know. So when it snowed and it was powder, it was like all he and his friends were on the mountain. Well, the local mountain ski resort went bankrupt one winter, and so he and his friends hiked to the top of the mountain to ski it for free. You know, they didn't have ski lifts or anything, but they still loved hiking, you know, skiing the mountain. So, and so he had skied partway down the mountain, and he stopped because he had his dogs with him, and he stopped to see how far behind him his dogs were, and he noticed that there was a young family that had, you know, it was a mother, father, and this baby on a sled, and you know the father, you know, pushed the sled towards the mother, who was downhill, and the mother somehow she missed the sled, and so the sled just kept going. And it's a ski mountain. It's not just a regular, you know, sledding hill, you know, and so the sled takes off, and the baby is freaking, and the mother's running after it and freaking, and the father's running after it, and it's obvious that they're not going to catch it. And this person is telling the story. He sees this whole thing unfold, and he, you know, figures the trajectory of the sled, and he starts running to intercept it. And the path that he had to go to intercept the sled led him into like a gully, where for most of the time, once he entered the gully, he couldn't actually see the baby. He couldn't see the sled. But he knew that he was in the right place, or he trusted that he was in the right place, and he could still, what told him he was in the right place was because he could still hear their mother and screaming. And he gets down into the gully and in the snow, you know, the powdered snow and everything, and suddenly he sees the sled go, you know, flying off of the lip of this gully, and the sled tumbles, you know, it does a somersault in the air, and the baby falls out, and the baby falls right in his hands, you know? And so right at that moment, the father running up to the edge, knowing that his son has fallen out of the, he could see that his son had fallen out of the sled. Oh, that's not right. Let's do this again. He could see that his son had fallen out of the sled, and he came over the lip expecting the worst, and he sees this dude. He sees this dude standing there in the middle of the gully with a baby in his arms, you know, and the baby is like, as soon as the baby lands in his arms, the baby is like totally chill, you know, because it's like, who are you? And the guy telling the story, you know, he was just like, you know, obviously in awe of what had happened, and the father was just like, who are you? And he says, I'm Bob or Bill or whatever, you know. Anyway, I was thinking about this story, and I was reminded of this thing that happened. This thing happened in my life back in the early 90s. It actually happened while I was, hi there, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, really. Bless. Syrup. So that girl's name is Sarah Rupp. So her, you know, tag is Syrup. she's a comedian, and she's studying with the Groundlings. No, with the what is it? The Upright Citizens Brigade, studying comedy. She actually came here to study with them. But I was reminded of this story that happened to me, or you know, in my life back when I was going through the spiritual acceleration back in 1993. 93? It was January, the third week of January 1994. And I was in San Diego, and I had decided to go up to this place called Torrey Pines. There's a glider port there, and these cliffs, they're like clay cliffs over this nude beach, and the top of the cliff is a glider port, and the bottom of the cliff is the nude beach. And it's near, what is the name of that place? Famous University of California at San Diego has a campus there, and the Jonas Salk laboratory is right on the same road. The Torrey Pines is the place, and the town is totally escaping me. That's so weird. That's weird for so many reasons. La Jolla is the town. That's right. So I was up in this, I driven to the edge of the cliff, as close as you can get, just next to the glider port. And I had determined that I was going to go meditate there. So, I mean, that's what I went there for, was to meditate. And so I drop into my meditation. And I should tell you that at that time I was going through this spiritual acceleration. I was in a state of bliss 24 hours a day. And the reason I went to meditate was I just wanted to be totally immersed in the sense of divine communion that I was experiencing at that time. And I think it was when I was driving to Torrey Pines that morning, this, things would come to me out of the blue, and and everything seemed to have some sort of cosmic significance, So when an idea would come, I'd be like, I'd try to follow that idea and see all the thought forms that were connected to it, because it felt like I was drawing from the library of the universe, and which is the same thing as drawing from the library of the universe. So this term came to me as I was driving to Torrey Pines that morning. The term was divine design. And as soon as the term came to me, I was like, whoa, divine design. It's like, and the idea was that, hello. Hi there.
How much is this going?
It's 1,800. It's on 3/4 inch ply. Go ahead and feel it. It's pretty heavy. Yeah. The round parts are drawn freehand. Okay, so, hello. So, I was really tripping on this whole concept of divine design, you know, and I realized that that was, you know, divine design is when something is so, you know, the whole concept is to do our best to be in harmony with divine design, and whatever we create to align, you know, make sure it's aligned with divine design. I just started, you know, tripping on the whole concept, and so that's the state I was in when I arrived at that. It was probably about midday up at Torrey Pines, and hi there.
It's weird, huh?
Thanks.
Great work.
Thanks. There's more here too. So I was, it dropped into this meditation. I'm sitting up on the cliff at Torrey Pines, and I try to do a live stream every day during the week, and that's who I'm talking to right now. In case you're wondering, is he crazy? Who's he talking to? You know? Yeah, really.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it's a pretty incredible story. I was up on. Do you know San Diego at all? Okay, you know Torrey Pines in La Jolla. Okay, there's a glider port there, and at the base of the cliff from the glider port, there's a nude beach called Black's Beach, right? And I had gone up to the cliff to meditate, and I'm about 20 minutes into the meditation, and it was a clear day like this, and then all of a sudden there'd be like these patches of fog that would roll up, so you couldn't even see the bottom of the cliff, which is like about 300 feet below, you know. And suddenly this guy walks up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me." And I'm like, in my meditation, I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying to meditate here." You know what I mean? You know. And finally, I'm like, "What?" You know. It says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but there's a guy stuck on the side of the cliff." And yeah, exactly. That's, you know. And I'm gonna go get the lifeguards. And can you keep an eye on him while I go? You know? So I was like, sure. And, you know, he walks me down, and sure enough, there, you know, about probably 30 yards down the cliff is this guy literally holding on for his life. He may have slipped. It was hard to say because he didn't speak English. He only spoke Spanish, and I didn't speak Spanish, you know? But, you know, he was in a position where he couldn't go down and he couldn't go up. You know, he was in a weird spot, and he must have slipped to get to that point. You know what I mean? It wasn't a place that you would like climb to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the guy goes off to get the safety people, and so there I am with this person that I don't speak his language, he doesn't speak mine, but I've got to make sure that I keep an eye on him because, you know, and he knows I got to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this weird 20 minutes of relationship with a human being, you know, and at the same time, there would be moments when this fog would roll in and I couldn't see him. You know what I mean? And so I would just call to him, you know, I'm like, I'm still here, you know, I've got an eye on you, you know. And so finally, you know, the lifeguards show up with, you know, the climbing equipment and everything like that. And then they rappel down to him and lash him in, and they help him get up. And, you know, it all ended well, but, you know, it's just one of those moments in your life when somebody's life is, you know, kind of in your hands, you know, because if he had fallen, I would have been the only witness, you know.
Yeah.
It was weird, crazy, bizarre, you know. So anyway, thanks for listening.
No, thanks for sharing. All right.
You know.
This is the live stream right now?
Yeah. Wave the broccoli. Yep, you too. Yeah, so that's what happened. It was, I mean, he and I definitely hugged when he came up, you know. I don't even, you know, the lifeguards made him sign some papers and stuff. I don't know what their story was, but it was just, you know, it was definitely one of those situations where all's well that ends well kind of things, and it could have gone bad in so many ways. And it's one of the few times I've been really happy that my meditation got interrupted. But then, you know, I went back as soon as he was up and safe and we hugged and whatnot. I went back to my spot and I dropped into the meditation, and I, you know, did my best to like embrace the concept of, you know, divine design in what was unfolded, what it unfolded, you know, just the whole timing of me being there to witness this whole thing, you know. And I think our lives are like that, you know. We hope to be that guy in the bottom of the gully who can't see the baby coming over the edge but knows it's there and hopes that he's in the right, you know, place. It turns out that after he told his story and everything like that, the commentator or the host of the show said, you know, this person is a national champion ultimate frisbee player, right? And, you know, I used to play ultimate frisbee pretty heavily back in the day, and it's like he was training for that moment, you know, his whole life up to that point, being able to, because that's one of the things that you do when you're playing ultimate frisbee is you're playing with the in the realm of potential geometries, right? Whoever catches the frisbee, everybody is calculating, doing these constant calculations of what are the potential geometries that person's gonna throw at any one moment, you know, so that you can be there wherever he would put it, you know, if you can. And yeah, so anyway, blah 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 blah. Divine design. Do that. So I think ever since that day, I've been, you know, engaged in in an attempt to sort of live in harmony with divine design, you know, and realize divine design. And I think that's what this is. That's why I was drawn to study sacred geometry, because sacred geometry is divine design, you know. And what is that old phrase that you learn the rules to learn how to break them, you know? And I think that's definitely been my life so far. Certainly, you know, as far as learning sacred geometry, I've spent a lot of time, you know, what is it, 19 years or so. I started studying sacred geometry in '95. So yeah, this year will be my 20th year of studying this. And anyway, I had a really interesting moment last night. I was at a birthday party for my partner in Conscious Pilots, his mother, Kate. She owns the Aura shop in Santa Monica. You know, they sell crystals and all that kind of stuff, auras. It was her birthday. I don't know how old she was, but we had a great time in there. And there was this brother, Joel, was there. Joel is a collector. He's interested in helping us promote Conscious Pilots. And we set up a meeting for this week with some curator of a museum or something, I'm not sure. And tentatively set for Wednesday. And it was a really interesting moment, because how Joel got involved is I painted this series of canvases for not for but inspired by Ryan's sacred geometry drawings, and I was just really inspired by his drawings, you know. And so I often, you know, get my inspiration for the paintings that I do from taking a look at other images of sacred geometry. And when I took a look at Ryan's, I was just really inspired by it, because I've never seen anything like his take on it. It's very dynamic, you know. So I did this series of 30 canvases, and he had them, Ryan had them mounted and framed and all this sort of stuff. And we made a video of it, and you can watch the video on, I think it's on YouTube and it's on Facebook and whatnot, under Conscious Pilots. And it's also on my, if you look up consciouspilots.com, it's on that page, consciouspilots.com. So this collector, Joel, you know, saw this series of Ryan's drawings and my paintings, and he was like wanting to help promote it. And in doing so, last night he asked me, do you have any other paintings besides the 30 paintings that you painted with Ryan? And I just looked at him and I said, are you kidding me? I didn't say it like that. I said, are you kidding me? Really? I said, yeah, because there's like over 2,000 of them. And he was like, oh, there's over 2,000? I was like, yeah. Yeah, and I showed him this piece from yesterday, and he was like, where are they? I said, they're in the garage, in storage in his garage. And he said, 2000. He asked me, have you ever like shown these to a curator or anything like that, you know? And I told him, well, back in the early 90s, I had just finished a one-man show, and a friend had arranged for me to do this, to show the work to a gallery owner outside of Boston. I think the woman's name is Moses, or galleries, the Moses Gallery or something like that. And so I went to her gallery, and I had all the paintings that were loaded up from, from taking down the show. And, it encompassed most of the work that I'd done up to that point, and I pulled out all the big pieces and I put them against the wall in her gallery and everything like that. And she came over from, she was dealing with something in her office and everything like that. And she came out and she took a look, and she looked and she said, no, not interested. And she went back into her business, And I was left with, lugging all this stuff back out to the bus, and I sat with it, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to have to go through this again. I don't want to ever have to ask somebody if I can dance on their stage. I told Joel this. I was like, I don't want to be in that position. I would rather just create my own stage, So I've been creating my own stage, and just telling that story to Joel, I had to look at it again myself, And I don't know, we'll see what happens. So revisiting. So I'm going to do this, and I'll post this time to actually get some paint onto that today. But I'm going to have to close it out for today. And I'm so glad I was able to do a show. I just love doing this. And fingers crossed, perhaps we'll get another one in tomorrow. That'll be show number 158.
Oh, these are so pretty.
Thank you. I was going for so pretty. Yeah. So anyway, what do we got? There it is. And remember, we love you.